Wilson Morales from Black Film and TV. Hello, ladies. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
So, Domee, if I'm saying, is it spelled right? Am I saying it right? Domee?
Domee. Yep.
Got your first film now. After so many years, are you ready? How long did it take? Did you get nervous?
Oh, yes to all of it. So I pitched Turning Red in 2017. Right, it was when I was finishing up my short film Bow, and I knew when I was pitching or coming up with an idea to pitch for a feature film, I was really passionate about doing a coming of age girl story. Basically just a movie that touches on this awkward moment in all of our lives where everything about us is changing, our bodies, our relationship with our moms, our friendships, and our emotions are changing every single hour or minute. And yeah, and that was kind of the inspiration behind Turning Red, in just wanting to explore this girl going through magical puberty and all that means. Yeah.
Lindsey, you've been with Disney for a minute. You've worked on a lot of projects, but on not every project. We know they got like 2, 3 every year. You know, it's been a minute since you had another film, even though you worked on short Sparks. You know, what went into coming on board as a producer for this one?
I think it's always, it's always this moment of trying to kind of get to know each other and get to inside each other's heads in terms of when you have a partnership for the first time. It's like, okay, how do you like to work and how do you think and what kind of brings out the best in you? Because I think a lot of that is really what the most important thing, because it helps drive who you kind of cast as the creative team on the film, and making sure that you're putting together a team that's kind of not only on board with the film, but also a great compliment to the director. So that's always the part that is it's fun, but it's also kind of a lot of discovery. And then it just turns into kind of, now that we've got this great team on, like, how do we kind of keep the momentum up and also just make sure that in no way we are kind of sacrificing the uniqueness of the film and of the voice of the director. Like, our job is always, my job feels like it's always to kind of protect that. And not that we try to destroy it over the course of the 4 years, but it is hard to remember kind of what in and amongst all the production of it, remember kind of what is the core, sometimes of the core of the film, and kind of what's the tone and what's the voice. And sometimes by mistake, because you're getting so many notes, it can be easy to kind of veer away from it and start to forget what you want to put out there. And I think Domee had such a strong kind of vision and tone for this film that, I just felt like my job was like, just protect that. Don't let anybody kind of let her second guess that tone or second guess that voice, because it's such a great, fresh, new voice for Pixar.
Now, at some point, I read that there was a set in the years, so and so, and most Pixar films don't have a year; they're not dated. Why, particularly this one?
I think that was just one other way to make it feel unique and memorable, is just to like set it in a specific time and place. And I personally grew up in the early 2000s in Toronto, Canada, and since the story is drawn very heavily from my own life and my own relationship with my mother, that I thought wouldn't it be cool to set it in my hometown in that era, and really celebrate the era of boy bands, of flip phones, of CDs and mix CDs, and just that it's just a really fun era to be a tween. So that was the reason why we put it there.
Now, having done, and both of you have worked with Disney for a long time, and every project is different. So coming on to this, having finished it, what did you learn, having, either as a producer or as a director, that you had not picked up before that you can take on to your next project?
I think the biggest thing I learned was just to embrace chaos. And that even Pixar, who has an amazing track record and has made so many amazing films, like even, every film is different and has its own set of unpredictable, issues and problems and puzzles to solve and things that just pop up out of nowhere. And for us, it was the pandemic, and did not anticipate that my first feature film would be I would be directing mostly from my laptop in my guest room in my house. And that's actually just part of filmmaking, that like with every production, like I've talked to other filmmakers as well, like things would pop up, or like, you know, people would leave the studio, you know, there'd be a shakeup in leadership. Like there's all of these things that you can't predict, but as filmmakers, you kind of have to roll with the punches and learn to quickly adapt and to shift your goals and just be flexible. Yeah, that's the biggest thing I learned.
For you, Lindsey, you know, as a producer, you know, obviously you carry a lot of responsibilities, but you know, when you have to do all of this stuff from home, because we're not going places, you know, a lot of events have been postponed or canceled, you know, how much of a challenge is it for you having to coordinate everything through text, through emails, through phones, and through Zooms?
Yeah, it was crazy. And I think the biggest thing for me was the fear that somehow we wouldn't be able to capture that same kind of level of collaboration that we so depend on and is so fundamental to kind of what make our films great. And you know, we talk about it all the time, that we're all in the same building and we're always kind of passing each other and sitting in rooms and talking about story, and we just really thrive on that environment. And so to have that kind of disappear overnight, there was a real fear, at least for me, and I hopefully kept it to myself, that of like, oh my God, what impact is this going to have on our film? And are we going to be able to kind of still kind of collaborate in a way that we need to in order for our films to be great? And for, you know, full credit goes to the crew at large, which they kind of, everybody just adjusted. And I think, look, we wouldn't choose to do it again. It's not how I would choose to make a movie again. But I will say that it just forced everybody to kind of be super real about the mess that was our lives for the last 2 years. And I think it actually weirdly it was right in line with the message of the movie, and that, you know, you have these messy parts of your life that you try to hide and you try to be like, okay, no, I have it totally contained at home. But meanwhile, you know, mayhem is happening behind you in the Zoom call, and dogs are barking and kids are fighting and, you know, babies are crying, and everybody just had to kind of stop and be like, all right, this is a mess, but we're going to still be here and figure it out. And so I think there was a certain amount of having to just embrace that. That was really kind of thematic.
But you got it done, and the main word is adjust. Ladies,
Yeah.
it's a pleasure. I look forward to seeing it. Disney Plus, wherever it may be. Have a good one.
Thank you. It's a good one.